People everywhere are starting to listen to him. He's going on French, British, Italian, Japanese television.
This is the Wide World of Weingarten.
3, 2, 1. Wide World of Weingarten, Monday, May 2nd, 8 p.m. here in Los Angeles. The NFL draft was last weekend. I guess it started on Thursday. I was surprised this year with how much coverage there is now in the draft. I guess it's been a trend for a couple of years now, but it's not just a sporting event. It is a huge betting event now. And I don't think I talked to anybody or any group that didn't crush the NFL draft. For me, I don't think I missed anything particularly big. I missed on the Charles Cross under. I think that was the biggest loss. But everything else was pretty good. The only thing I didn't have any long shots. It was all pretty much 1-to-1, or I was laying a bunch on a bunch of overs, whatever. But I did all right. Made money. Pretty happy with the amount of time and effort I put in the return. I don't have a ton of thoughts on the actual draft itself. I am not as into the draft as I used to be, but I did see that the Ravens, I think, did a really good job in the first round getting Kyle Hamilton and Tyler Linderbaum. As usual, the good teams and the smart teams did smart things, and the dumber teams did questionable things. The Packers didn't take a wide receiver in the first round. That was something that I figured they might do. They did take Watson from North Dakota State, I think, in the second round. So they did get Aaron Rodgers supposedly some help, but that's not really a needle mover when A.J. Brown was available and some of the bigger names in the draft went earlier. So I was happy that the Packers at least took two players from Georgia, I guess. But no surprise to me that they didn't take a wide receiver with the first pick. And then the early offensive rookie of the year numbers are pretty much awful all around. I think the only value maybe would be Cody Pickett at 7-to-1, but we don't know if he's really viable for starting week one, so I wouldn't rush out to bet any of those numbers. Quarterback's always going to be the first thing to look at. It's just going to be the first thing to look at in July or August. I think you have to be crazy to bet some of these wide receiver numbers I've seen. It's kind of a recency bias thing. Wide receivers, you got to give 30, 40 to 1 odds to even consider a guy who could win the offensive rookie of the year. I think Jamar Chase had such an extraordinary season. We're just assuming that somebody's going to do it again. I don't think I'd pay any of these prices. If anything, like I said, I'd look at the quarterbacks, but this isn't something that I expect to spend a lot of time on before at least July, if not August. The Mets, big news today. They finally bit the bullet and designated Robinson Cano for assignment. I'm happy that they finally did this. The writing's been on the wall for a while. And the hardest thing for general managers to do is get rid of players. You always have to be turning over the roster and replacing old guys. This move was long overdue. The only reason it hadn't been done before was the financial consideration. I think they owe him $44 million, which is a huge amount of money. But this really wasn't a hard decision. He had more strikeouts than hits. He was taking up a roster spot. He was taking at bats from other guys at this point. Steve Cohen understands the idea of sunk cost, and he gave his front office the ability to continue to pay this contract and move him off the roster. Not a lot of owners would eat $44 million, but this was a move that had to happen, and it's nice to see baseball teams moving on from bad contracts. The goal in the future should be to not sign guys to bad deals like this in the first place. But Robinson Cano, he's been suspended twice for performance-enhancing drugs. He's kind of been on the downswing for a while, and this move had to happen, and they did it, and now they'll move on. And the Mets, I think they have the second best record in baseball, just behind the Yankees, actually. So a lot of good baseball being played in New York. Although, I always get the feeling when I talk to Yankees fans that they hate everything and the team's not good enough, and then you look up and they have the best record in baseball. So it's good, but it's never good enough. The Reds, though, if you want to see the opposite end of the spectrum, the Reds end April losing 16 of their last 17 games for the first time since August of 1945. So first time losing 16 of 17 since World War II. Pretty pathetic. They just don't have the major league pitching right now. They do have a lot of stuff up and coming at Double-A. I think their Double-A team and Daytona, I think it is like 15-5, doing some good stuff at the minor league levels, but they just don't have the talent to compete at the majors right now. And ownership has kind of signaled that they aren't committed to really fielding a winner at the moment. The home run leader market saw some movement this weekend. Aaron Judge had a big weekend. Reminded everybody that he exists. Hit a couple home runs, and now all of a sudden he's tied with Vlad Jr. at 8-1 as co-favorites. Anthony Rizzo is down to 8-1. He's back up to 18-1, and Jose Ramirez and Yordan Alvarez both at 20-1. I think those look like better bets to me at those numbers. These numbers are courtesy of the Superbook, available in Colorado and Nevada, and I think maybe New Jersey, but I'm not sure where else. I usually look at their numbers for Colorado when I'm doing this. Corey Seager, also another guy with interesting odds. Still, he hit 3 home runs this weekend. He's only at 4. I think 9 is the lead right now. 5 is very much a gap that could be made up still. So 100-1 on Corey Seager. Interesting if you missed that number earlier. Then we've got the April award winners for Player of the Month, Pitcher of the Month, and Rookie of the Month. Not a bunch of surprises. Jose Ramirez and Nolan Arenado are the Players of the Month. I think maybe Manny Machado could have been substituted with Arenado, but I'm not super picky about that one. And then the Pitchers of the Month, Logan Gilbert and Pablo Lopez are the winners there. Winners mainly because of their minuscule ERAs, among other things. Pablo Lopez gets the loss tonight. I think he gave up 4 runs against Arizona. So, funny how those awards come out and the guy has his worst start of the season. Lopez was 50-1, dropped about 25-1, 35-1 to win the Cy Young. Today's start didn't really help him. Logan Gilbert, though, he's putting up incredible numbers. He's passed teammate and last year's Cy Young winner Robbie Ray as the Mariners' top contender for a Cy Young. I think he's down to like 12-1 at the Westgate. I use their numbers because Westgate tends to update them the most. And then the Rookie of the Month is Steve Kwan in the AL and Saya Suzuki in the NL. Congratulations to them both. I don't think either one is going to win Rookie of the Year, but they both won Rookie of the Month. As far as Rookie of the Year, stuff to talk about. Obviously, the big news to me, big news to hopefully to you, is Julio Rodriguez hit his first home run of the season of his career on Sunday. It went 450 feet. He wasn't really at serious risk of being sent to AAA, but definitely a couple more weeks of poor performance at the plate might have gotten some conversations about it. But he was having some strikeout issues to start the season. Still showed an elite eye, and he's leading MLB right now with 9 stolen bases. I think that's kind of gone somewhat unnoticed. So his first month of the season ends with a 450-foot home run. Very impressive, and 9 stolen bases. All this done over 21 games. All this despite having 10 called strikeouts on pitches outside the zone, twice as many as anybody in MLB. It was actually really unusual how many strikeouts he was being called on by umpires. And I asked one of my friends, I said, am I missing something? Are we missing something? Did he do something to the umpires? Did he say something? Is there some sort of mandate coming from a higher authority to call him out on strikes for some reason? Because it was very noticeable. It wasn't just gamblers. It wasn't just me noticing this stuff. It was very widely discussed, and I think the Mariners even sent a letter of protest or something to the commissioners saying that these calls are unusual. So I've no idea if I'm missing some sort of context here, but Julio Rodriguez is having an incredible start to his career, even with the high amount of strikeouts that he's had. Still has an elite eye, nine stolen bases, playing good defense. I think he should be the AL Rookie of the Year favorite right now. He isn't FanDuel, so credit to them for getting that right. I don't think Bobby Witt's done anything yet to deserve a higher price. I don't think Torkelson has done anything better necessarily than Julio Rodriguez has. But he is good. I think he will be in contention most of the season. And then there's Jeremy Pena. I'll talk about him a little bit more in a minute. He hit another home run tonight. I think he has 5 now. So very impressive stuff from Jeremy Pena. But back to Julio Rodriguez for a second before I lose my entire train of thought on Julio Rodriguez. Derek Carthy's the bat, which is one of the better projection systems, projected Julio Rodriguez for 15 stolen bases. Steamers had him at 16. The Zips had him at 17. He's on pace for like 60. He's probably actually on pace for closer to 70 right now. I just like to be more conservative, but it's called 60. Even if he gets to 40 or 50, that'll put him in serious contention to win the Rookie of the Year, even if he has moderate power. If we're talking 10, 15 home runs and 40 stolen bases, I don't know what some of these other players are going to have to do to contend with that. So I see some 8-1, some 7-1s out there. I think that's still kind of crazy, especially when you consider Julio Rodriguez is the only Mariners player in the StatCast era, so we're talking since 2015, to hit a 450-foot home run and register sprint speed of greater than 30 feet per second in the same game. That is some very good stuff. Like we're talking Mike Trout level kind of skills there. So when I compare him to a lot of these other guys in the in the rookie class, and there are a lot of contenders. Joe Ryan, I haven't even really talked about him. He was a contender for Rookie of the Month as well. But I don't see how Julio Rodriguez is not going to be the main guy here at the end of the season. If you haven't looked at his rookie cards yet, take a look. They're rather expensive. He's a future face of Major League Baseball. Jeremy Pena, guy I mentioned, I said he has 5 home runs. He hit another one tonight. He's the only player in MLB who's in the 90th percentile in outs above average, 90th percentile in sprint speed, and 80th percentile or above in XW OBA. Those are all great, and unfortunately for him, writers don't look at that stuff when they're voting. They look at average home runs, games played. It's not super complex. We tend to talk about a lot of this stuff a lot deeper than a lot of the writers do. His baseball cards are hot right now, though. I would much rather bet Julio Rodriguez at 8-1 and buy Pena's baseball cards than buy Julio Rodriguez's baseball cards and bet Pena. I don't think there is an 8x return in buying Julio Rodriguez's cards, even if you're spending $1,000, $2,000. You're not going to sell that card for, $8,000, $16,000, $10,000, whatever you want to call it. I do think if you invested $2,000, $3,000 in a Julio Rodriguez future at 8-1, if you did win Rookie of the Year, you would get a much better return on your money than buying his baseball card. Obviously, the downside here is if he does not win Rookie of the Year, you lose all your money. So you could lose a couple $1,000, but that's where my head's at with Julio Rodriguez right now. I do think Jeremy Pena and Joe Ryan are making serious cases, but I think when all is said and done, if Julio Rodriguez can keep up the stolen bases, he's very likely to win this award. So take advantage of some of those 7-1s, 8-1s. I don't think they will be out there much longer. In the NL, Seiya Suzuki, he slowed down a bit after an elite start. His first 39 plate appearances, he was walking 23.1% of the time, striking out only 23.1% of the time. He had a 420.25 average, 564 OBP, and a 929 slugging. 298 WRC plus. That's an extraordinarily high WRC plus. His next 37 plate appearances, he was only walking 10.8% of the time. His strikeouts went up to 32.4% of the time. 212 batting average, 297 OBP, 303 slugging. 79 WRC plus, so he's probably not as good as a 298 WRC plus would indicate. He's probably not as bad as a 79 WRC plus would indicate. He's probably somewhere in between that. He's still an above average player, and he's a front runner right now in the NL Rookie of the Year field. But if you flipped around Suzuki's struggle of his 10 days and then the 10 days he was on fire, the perception of his season would be slightly different. I don't think he's necessarily worth a minus 150 or a minus 120. Even if I was booking it, I'd be booking it at plus money, trying to get people to bet more money on him at plus 105, plus 110, plus 120. I know some people would argue, and I've actually had this argument. They'd say, well, anyone who's going to book, anyone who's going to bet him at, plus 110 is probably going to bet him at minus 120. But I really think, my philosophy is always to write more on futures if possible. So I would definitely be, trying to entice a better price with Suzuki if I was booking it at the moment, which I'm not. But I do think he's an above average player. It's going to take somebody else to beat him. And O'Neal Cruz is a guy I think has the potential to win the Rookie of the Year. Unfortunately, he's hitting under 200 right now in AAA. Does not seem super interested. If I didn't know any better, he is not trying his hardest as in a form of protest to the Pirates, but that's just me speculating. He could just be having a bad run at AAA, but I do think he's earned the right to be in the Pirates lineup, especially with the way they play. Not really, going anywhere this year. He should be up, and my guess is that after the Super 2 deadline, if he has a good week at AAA, they'll find an excuse to bring him up. C.J. Abrams is not looking like he's at a risk to being sent down. The rosters decreased from 28 to 26 today. He wasn't sent down, so I'd give him another month. I think I've seen his prices drift up. If you haven't bet it yet and you see like a 25 to 1 or something, I think he's still got a better chance than teammate Mackenzie Gore, who's been trending up, but his last two starts have both been against the Reds, so kind of keep that in mind. Let's see how he pitches against some better competition before we make him. He's under 9 to 1. I think that's probably reasonable, but I'd probably put him a little higher. Try to get more action on him. Bryson Stott, he's back at AAA, and then there's Hunter Green, whose velocity's been down. He took a round trip from 16 to 1 to 4 to 1. Now he's 20 to 1. I'd probably be booking that at about 40 to 1. I don't think he's got a real shot. Then there's Nolan Gorman. He hit home run number 11 this weekend. Like I said before, the only thing keeping Gorman down at this point is strikeouts. I think as soon as there's an injury or an another injury, because they didn't call him up with this Tommy Edman injury, but if anything happens to one of their corner bats, if anything happens to Pujols, I think he's next in line. I think the Cardinals are also kind of waiting out Super 2, but also trying to see if he can cut down that strikeout rate, because obviously the power is there. We know the power is there. They know the power is there. Max Meyer is the guy I've been meaning to talk about. I had left him till the end. Sorry, I'm trying to log into an account so I can tell you what I bet for tomorrow as well. Max Meyer, I left him till the end. I think he passed his final audition at AAA on Saturday. Threw 92 pitches over 6.2 innings, gave up a run, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. Really not much more he can accomplish at the AAA level. The Marlins also DFA'd a guy today. So there's an open spot for Meyer on the 40-man roster if they so choose to promote him this week, which I believe they will. That's just speculation on my part, though. If there's any 50, 60, 70 to 1s out there on him, I think with Suzuki slightly faltering, a new shooter here, as they call it in horse racing, a big-time pitching prospect coming out, could see his odds drop drastically with a good first start. I don't know who they're playing on Saturday. I haven't looked, so I couldn't tell you who the projected first start would be at, but maybe that's something we'll look at tomorrow. Beyond Max Meyer, in an ideal world, Meyer would get called up and his spot in the AAA rotation would be taken by Yuri Perez, who might actually be a better pitcher, better pitching prospect, might be the best pitching prospect in all of minor league baseball. He threw 5 shutout innings with 12 strikeouts, 1 hit, no walks Friday at AA Pensacola. We will probably be talking a lot about him more in the foreseeable future. If you'll excuse me for 1 second, I'm just going to pull up what I've already bet for tomorrow so I can tell you my baseball plays overnight. That will probably either come out late tonight or this morning for you. I bet San Francisco plus 127. That's Rodon versus Urias. I bet the Angels Red Sox under 9 minus 120. That's Syndergaard versus Michael Wacha. I bet the Blue Jays minus 121. Tyon versus Alek Manoah. I bet the White Sox minus 135. That's Michael Kopech versus Drew Smyly and the Cubs. So 1, 2, 3, 4 baseball games tomorrow for you. 4 sides. 3 sides and a total. I think those numbers are still more or less available at those prices. Maybe the 9 might be gone, but I think it's all there right now. So good luck Tuesday. I will be back with more baseball. Thank you for listening as always.